So we've got this wild article claiming a time traveler from 2060, going by KFK, answered questions on a Chinese blog. Sounds crazy, right?
It does sound a bit out there, yeah. But the Q&A is surprisingly detailed.
Detailed and kind of unsettling. Apparently 2060 isn't exactly a utopia.
Yeah, KFK paints a picture of a world struggling with climate change, frequent disasters, and even war. It's intense.
Sounds like a dystopian novel. But what's even weirder is that KFK claims to be born in 2020. Wow. So this KFK person, what kind of predictions did they make?
Lots of things. They talked about the future of technology, like 7G being the last generation of cellular networks, and how AI will become super important.
So no 8G, 9G, and so interesting. I didn't expect that.
Exactly. They also predicted that things like fruits and milk will become luxury items in 2060.
Wow, that's a bit alarming. What else? That's a big change.
They mentioned a global war around 2048, centered around the intersection of 3 continents. Pretty intense stuff. Scary, actually.
Whoa. Any other major social changes KFK predicted?
Yeah, they said marriage rates will be low in most countries and that housing won't be a valuable commodity anymore.
So no more housing crisis? That's a relief, at least, right?
Well, it's complicated. They said housing is cheap because it's mass-produced, but other things like fruits and milk will be expensive, so it's a trade-off.
So a different kind of inequality. What about the environment? That's a big concern, right? The environment. KFK mentioned climate change, but what specifics?
They said air quality won't improve and that certain regions will become uninhabitable due to extreme weather. They suggested inland areas as safer options. Makes sense, I guess.
So a mass migration, that's a huge societal shift, a massive one.
Exactly. And they also mentioned rising sea levels and earthquakes causing land subsidence. It's a lot.
It sounds like a recipe for disaster. What about other predictions? Anything else? Let's talk tech again. KFK mentioned some pretty specific technological advancements.
They talked about advancements in virtual reality technology, making it incredibly immersive. They also mentioned the rise of AI in various industries, a big rise.
So AI taking over jobs, that's what everyone worries about.
Not exactly taking over, but becoming integrated into many professions. They also mentioned that robots will become commonplace by 2038. That's soon.
So robots doing household chores and stuff, that would be helpful.
Exactly. And they even mentioned that robot marriages might become legal in some countries. That's a wild one.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. What about the geopolitical landscape?
KFK predicted a global war involving major world powers, including the US, EU, and China, a big one.
A third world war. That's a pretty serious prediction, a very serious one.
It is. They said it would be devastating, but that it would lead to a spiritual evolution for humanity. That's unexpected.
A spiritual evolution after a global war? This is a strange combination, a very strange one.
It is. They also mentioned that the war would not be fought with nuclear weapons, but would be even more terrifying. That's scary.
So anything else KFK predicted that stood out?
They mentioned that certain languages, like Greek and Hebrew, would become more relevant in the future. They also said that the entertainment industry would change significantly, a big change.
So no more blockbuster movies, that's what I'm wondering.
Not in the same way. They predicted a shift towards interactive games and virtual reality experiences. Makes sense.
So a more immersive form of entertainment. Anything else? Anything at all?
They also mentioned that the concept of time would be redefined by 2049. That's a mind bender.
Okay, so all this doom and gloom, why did KFK even bother to share these predictions?
They said they wanted to give a warning to people in 2019, highlighting that the first half of the year was a relatively good time compared to what was to come. A warning, huh?
A warning, huh? So a bit of a Cassandra complex. I can see that.
Exactly. They also mentioned that a TV series in 2049 would be a nostalgic look back at 2019.
Interesting. So 2019 will be remembered as a relatively good time.
Yeah.
That's a sobering thought. Very sobering thought. So is this KFK person for real? Or is it just an elaborate hoax? That's the big question.
That's the million-dollar question. The details are pretty specific, but it's still hard to say for sure. It's hard to say.
It's certainly intriguing. The level of detail is what makes it so compelling. It really is.
Exactly. It's not just vague predictions. It's specific dates, events, and technological advancements. Very specific.
So how should we interpret KFK's message? Should we panic? Should we really?
I don't think panic is the answer. But it's definitely food for thought. It's a call to be mindful of the challenges ahead and to prepare for potential disruptions. Good advice.
So be prepared, but don't lose hope. That's the takeaway. It's a fascinating look at potential futures, isn't it? Thanks for breaking down this wild article with me. It's certainly given me a lot to think about. A lot.
My pleasure. It's a conversation that could go on for hours. It really could.
That was a great discussion. Thanks.